Here's more wrestling news for September 9th, 2022. And we're starting off this afternoon with AEW, as some of the company's founding members, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, are currently out serving a suspension. Their suspensions are just the latest change backstage, as it was only a few weeks ago that people were promoted, but Chris Jericho is happy where he is. During an interview with Inside the Ropes, Jericho was asked about the company's restructuring and whether an official role other than wrestler is in his future. "I don't need a job title to help the company. I do it every day. Whenever I show up to TV, it's a constant working from 2 o'clock until the show is over, if I'm wrestling or not. That's the way it should be. There's not a lot of guys that have been doing this as long as I have. In our locker room, there's Sting, there's Dustin Rhodes, and then there's me. I'm one of the original AEW guys, probably was very integral in getting the company off the ground in a lot of ways, so I don't have a problem with giving advice and helping people. It's what I'm there for. It's part of my job. Like I said, there's nothing to be written on a business card, you know? Director of EVP or whatever the is. Who cares? I'm Chris Jericho. That trumps all of that." Jericho is set to face Bryan Danielson next week in a semifinals match of the AEW World Championship Tournament, and despite the changes backstage, the AEW Gold is the only title Jericho is interested in. CM Punk is also out indefinitely, not just because of his All-Out actions, but also because of an injury during the All-Out pay-per-view. It's been reported that Punk will go under the knife due to his torn muscle injury, but he's not the only former world champion who's hurt. At All Out, Christian Cage's match with Jungle Boy lasted just 20 seconds as Luchasaurus did most of the damage before the bell, allowing Cage to get an easy win. It's since been confirmed that Cage is injured, and he too is expected to miss months of action. On his show, Dave Meltzer said that Cage suffered a similar injury to Punk and therefore will be out for a similar 6 to 8 month time window. Unlike Punk, Cage's job in AEW is hardly on the line, and until Cage is back, the former Jurassic Express members will just have to make do contending with each other. Next year, The Rock will launch the XFL, marking his first attempt, and the third overall, at providing an alternative to the NFL. The XFL was previously run by Vince McMahon, and while the Brahma Bull is hoping to make it a success this time around, he recently made an appearance for the competition. Kicking off the NFL's new season, the former WWE champion was at SoFi Stadium in California to welcome fans to the game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Buffalo Bills. As you'd expect, The Rock electrified the fans in the stadium, complete with his WWE theme song and signature pose. SoFi Stadium will also play host to WrestleMania 39, which will reportedly see The Rock face Roman Reigns, so while he'll be busy next year with the XFL, it may just be a matter of time before The Rock returns to SoFi. Earlier this week, we reported on Malakai Black, who has been released from his AEW contract and is planning a lengthy break from pro wrestling. At first, Tony Khan denied the release, but has now agreed to it, and it's been reported that a personal issue and Black's mental health led the former NXT champion to make the request. Black isn't just gone from AEW, as an Instagram post from Northeast Wrestling has confirmed that he won't be on tonight's show, reading, "Due to health issues, Malakai Black will not be appearing for Northeast Western this Friday night at Eastwood Field. Replacing him are AEW star Jay Lethal and Enzo." Black's release from AEW is said to be conditional, meaning he can't sign with WWE, at least not for a very long time, but that may not be a problem for the Dutch wrestler. It's been stated that Black's hiatus from wrestling could be permanent, as that's how serious this personal issue is, and whatever happens, we wish him well with the future. Yesterday, Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom passed away aged 96 after over 70 years on the throne. For many people, Queen Elizabeth was the only monarch they had known, and on Twitter, former WWE superstar Saraya gave her tribute to the Queen, sharing photos from the monarch's life. It was rumored for years that Her Majesty was something of a wrestling fan, watching Britain's World of Sport Wrestling back in the 70s and 80s, and our condolences go out to all those affected by her passing. Now, for years, Jim Ross worked with WWE, and while he's considered by many to be the greatest commentator ever, he did have a somewhat turbulent time with Vince McMahon. On screen, JR was forced to kiss the backside of the former chairman, and McMahon once mocked JR's Bell's palsy, and things weren't much easier off camera. While speaking on Money for Mongo, Ross said that McMahon would fire him several times just for the fun of it. He's fired me 3 or 4 times. I don't give a shit. When he found out I didn't give a shit, it made it more fun for him and he just kept firing me. But here's the good news, he hired me back. He never hired me back for less money than I was making before I exited, so he's always been fair to me in that respect. Ross was fired for the final time in September 2013 after he was unable to control Ric Flair, who went off script during a WWE 2K14 press conference, though WWE claimed that JR chose to retire. Whatever the truth is, Ross seems much happier now working under Tony Khan, who so far has not even considered parting ways with the legendary commentator. In March, Tony Khan shocked the world with his purchase of Ring of Honor, bringing in a ton of talent who had been associated with the promotion. One big name is former Ring of Honor World Champion Dalton, but you won't be seeing him working for Khan. PW Insider reports that despite making appearances for ROH in the Tony Khan era, Castle is not under contract with anyone and is a 100% free agent. That explains why Castle wasn't featured on this week's AEW Dynamite in Buffalo, New York, which is close to his hometown of Rochester, New York. We'll have to see where Dalton Castle lands next, and while he has a ton of talent, things weren't meant to be in Tony Khan's version of Ring of Honor. Last month, She-Hulk Attorney at Law dropped on Disney+, detailing the adventures of Bruce Banner's cousin, Jennifer Walters. The show has received mixed reviews so far, but eagle-eyed fans will have spotted a brief cameo from a former WWE superstar. During one scene where She-Hulk tries dating, the titular character can be seen being schmoozed by none other than David Otunga. The former WWE Tag Team Champion was referred to as Derek on the show, and it marks his first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Prior to this, Otunga has had acting roles in General Hospital, The Call, which also stars Halle Berry, and other projects. The only member of the Nexus to stay with the group from start to finish, Otunga later worked as John Laurinaitis' legal counsel and transitioned into a commentary role before quietly leaving WWE in 2018. His role in She-Hulk may not be the biggest role, but it'll certainly get Otunga noticed, and don't be surprised to see the Nexus alum show up in other big projects. We've got an update regarding Kris Statlander now, who is out of action with a knee injury. It was announced last month on Dynamite that Statler had suffered a knee injury, and now the AEW star has undergone surgery. On Twitter, AEW's Alien uploaded a photo of herself in a hospital bed and joked about thinking about the fans making her knees weak. There's no timeline yet on when fans can expect Kris back in the ring, though it's great that she's not letting this setback get to her too much. Statlander previously suffered an ACL injury in June 2020 and was out of action until April 2021. And if this most recent injury is anything like that, it could be a very long time before we see Kris in the ring again. And we're ending today with Miro, who has never shied away from making his views on AEW very clear. It wasn't too long ago that the Redeemer liked a tweet suggesting it would have been better back in WWE, and now he's poked a bit of fun at the company again. Sharing a gif of Wile E. Coyote looking for the Roadrunner, Miro added a shrug emoji, with fans interpreting it as Miro being aware that he was nowhere to be found on AEW TV. With AEW now down several of their top stars, hopefully there will be space for Miro on TV again, but the future remains unclear for the former AEW TNT champion. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.